Hey, I'm Conflicted, and today I'm going to be discussing the Heart series by Kendrick Lamar. In this video, I'm going to give you a basic description of what the Heart series is, as well as discuss what happened to it. Keep in mind, much of what I say here is just my perception of the series, because a lot of it is mysterious and doesn't have a lot of information on it. Without further ado, follow me on Twitter at ConflictedI'm, and let's get into the video. The Heart series, described by a couple of websites, Wikipedia, and People, is a group of songs that Kendrick Lamar released on the side of his albums, where he discusses a lot of his philosophical ideas that he's discovered throughout his life. It is arguably some of his most personal works, and it's always exciting to hear a new part in the series, because not only are we guaranteed an incredible song, but also a great album to follow thereafter. And the best part is on how easily accessible it is. Well, was. All the songs, except for the Heart Part 5, are no longer on Spotify, and I haven't been able to find any information on why the other parts were removed from Spotify, which is surprising seeing how impactful and incredible these songs are. So, I don't know, I went through Reddit, I went through Twitter, I went through literally everything where people discuss stuff. I couldn't figure out why the other ones were removed, but I can give you guys a description of each of these songs individually to get you a good grasp of what this series is. The Heart Part 1 is Kendrick's first part in the series, obviously, and we get a lot of emotion from Kendrick in this song, where he goes about 4 minutes of just non-stop speaking. He does not stop. He keeps going and going for a while. You know, he goes for a while. This is the hungriest I've seen Kendrick. You know, Kendrick was going for stuff, man. He really wanted to get his music out there. He was very dedicated to his craft, and he even talks about taking J. Cole's spot in the XXL freshman class if he doesn't show up. And in general, he just goes crazy on this song. You could hear the layers, you know, you could hear the emotion in his voice, and that's what makes this series so incredible. We get a really good grasp at what Kendrick Lamar is feeling throughout the creation of these songs, and it just gets really personal. The Heart Part 2 was released right before Overly Dedicated, which is easily Kendrick Lamar's most underrated body of work. He vents on this a lot, like he does on a lot of these other songs in the series, and this gives you a good perspective of how Kendrick Lamar thinks. All these songs are very personal, and you can just hear how much it means to him, and I think it's just genuinely incredible. Kendrick Lamar actually talked about the song in an interview, I remember saying to myself, I just want to show a spew of emotions on a record. I don't care how long the bars are, but people are literally going to have to feel me. I told myself that I can't connect that way, and there ain't no point in me just putting a bunch of good words together. So that spaz out towards the end where I just choke up and lose my breath, I want to keep all that. The Heart Part 3 was released arguably before Kendrick Lamar's biggest album, Good Kid, Mad City. Kendrick has always had an incredible talent when it comes to lyricism as well as storytelling, and he gets really in depth in this song, where he gives a little bit of a preview on what's to come in his album, which was a massive commercial success. He also goes into discussing of how stressful the pressure is on how highly he's placed in music. I think this is a good example of the less is more concept, because most of the stress wouldn't be there if he would have always had that fame, but such a drastic change in such a short time can cause him to feel an extraordinary amount of stress that most people don't have to deal with. He brings up being related to Tupac. You know, everybody tries to relate him to Tupac, and you know, that's a lot of stress to have on somebody. Tupac was arguably one of the best rappers of all time, and he's Kendrick is very humble, I believe. Despite all of his accomplishments, he still doesn't try to act as though he is above anybody, because at the end of the day, we are all people, and all people make mistakes, and he really pushes that through on his most recent album, Mr. Moral and the Big Steppers, which is, by the way, an incredible album. You know, it's just good. It's a good album. My favorite album of the year. It had a lot of my favorite songs on there. Father Time, Peak Music. That's arguably my favorite song right now, still. But yeah, Kendrick Lamar, man. Kendrick Lamar seems a lot more calm on this song. It came out right before his album Darn, which is his biggest commercial album, He uses beats that he uses in the album and gives a lot of different flows and ideas. He also throws a shot at Trump, which made me laugh. But yeah, that's all I really gotta say about The Heart Part 4. I'm really upset this got taken down now. I was listening to this a lot when it came out. The Heart Part 5 is my favorite, and it's also the most popular, I'm pretty sure, and it's the most recent addition in the series. I was in a very weird place when this dropped, and I hold it very close to me emotionally. You guys actually got videos from me reacting to this album from months ago, and it's crazy to think how far as a channel that we've come, and how there's a portion of my life that's already on here for us to all look at. Consider subscribing. Maybe we could look back at this in like the next year. But yeah, this song gets very in depth. A YouTuber named Pearl Fountain, also who used to be known as Thought, dropped a video on this, and you could check that out in the description if I remember to add that in. But yeah, if you want a full breakdown analysis, you could watch that video. But essentially, this double Grammy winning song discusses many deep topics, including the culture that he's lived through, as well as the progression of people generation to generation. I truly believe that no matter what we do, the next generation will always be levels above us, because of the fact that they are way less cemented and they can change so much more. Because, you know, people see so much stuff and then they get so cemented in their beliefs and ideas that it's hard to grow from that. And Kendrick acknowledges that there are a lot of flaws in anything, but for the time that you're in, all you could do is your best. To wrap this video all up, I have no idea where these songs went, except for the 5th one that's still up on Spotify. But if you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing or maybe even sharing with a friend. It really does mean a lot. That's all I gotta say though. I love you all. I'm conflicted. And maybe listen to some Kendrick Lamar in your free time. I'm out. Peace.